Now I've been asked to do a video on lighting for planted aquariums. Now the first thing to understand is there are all different sorts of plants that do tolerate different sorts of lights. Now the way to understand the color rating of the light, which is the Kelvin rating or the color temperature of the light, so that's measured in Kelvin. So the sun beams down at about 5,500 Kelvin. As the sun's rays penetrate water, in general the Kelvin rating tends to raise. So plants are basically found in relatively shallow water. So most of your really good plant globes will tend to be around 8,000 Kelvin. And 8,000 Kelvin will look a little bit yellowish, and that will wash out a lot of your fish. So 8,000 is fairly tolerable. Some people prefer to go up to 10,000 because that will help to bring out the colors of the fish a little bit better, particularly any blue fish. But then if your Kelvin rating gets too high, such as a coral reef light, because corals are found in much deeper water, so therefore your coral lights are a lot bluer, so they're going to be much higher in Kelvin, and they're going to make the fish look awesome. But the plants will grow differently. So if you have plants in high Kelvin light, the plants will grow very tall because the plants will think they're in really deep water. If your Kelvin rating is really low, there's a lot of red in the spectrum, and your Kelvin rating is like 5,500, then your plants will not grow tall, they will grow bushy. So basically for plants, if you had a Kelvin rating of about 8 or 10,000 Kelvin, then that tends to be really good. And then the next thing to understand is intensity. And as far as intensity is concerned, you've got LEDs. LEDs are able to produce a huge amount of light from a very low amount of wattage. Then you've got fluorescent and T5 lights. In the old days we used to go off 1 watt per litre as far as metal halide or fluorescent was concerned, but it really isn't the case now with your LEDs, because a lot of them are controllable and they put out huge amounts of light. The next consideration too is duration. So when the sun comes up in the morning, most of the light is actually reflected. Then in the middle of the day the light penetrates water very well. Then in the afternoon the light will fade out again. So you want to balance how long your lights are on and the amount of algae you're getting. So if you're getting a fair bit of algae in your aquarium, then you'll reduce the amount of time the lights are on. Then if you reduce it too far, you might find that your plants aren't doing as well. So in general, say 8 hours of light is great, but if you start going for say 12 hours of light, you might say that you end up with too much algae. And if you do have plants such as Anubias and rock fern, they aren't real fussy about light. You can pretty much put them under anything under you want and they're fine. Some plants become very, very fussy. In general, the broader the leaf of the plant, the less light it needs. The more spiky the leaf of the plant, the more light it needs as a generalization. So you put your lights on the tank, you look at the amount of algae you're getting, you look at the health you're getting from your plants, and if it's not broken you don't have to fix it. But with time, if you notice your plants are not doing well, then you've got to either address the amount of light you've got, the type of light you've got, coupled up with the nutrients you have in your aquarium. Say for example, if your leaves are going yellow, then you might want to introduce a fertilizer. You may also introduce an organic carbon, which can increase your CO2. So the health of your plant is basically your lights plus your fertilization plus your CO2. Anyway, if you get more questions, just shoot us an email at shop@majesticaquariums.com.au and enjoy your fish keeping.